What's up, everybody? We're back with another episode of the Tonkin NASCAR podcast. I'm being joined back tonight with Hitmaster back in the city skyline.
Heck yeah.
And we got a lot to talk about here in this first points paying episode of the season. Of course, Daytona week is up. We got to talk about all that. It was a pretty wild weekend. Like I said in the last episode, I did dig into NASCAR '07 and NASCAR Thunder 2005. Got thoughts on both of those games. I'm going to give them here. There's a few other news things that came up over the course of the week. And then, of course, at the end, we will preview the final weekend of Auto Club at its current configuration. Pretty big weekend coming up. So, but we'll preview that at the end. But first, Hitmaster wants to do some mixology here.
So, I have all flavors of Mountain Dew.
You do.
So you have Major Melon. I don't know if you guys can see that. No, the thing's away. You know what? I'll just take off this virtual background just for right now. Hold on. Okay. So, yeah, Major Melon. Pitch Black, which is the good one. I've got Live Wire, the orange flavored. And then down here, you got Code Red. You got Spark. I got Voltage. And then, of course, I got the regular one. I don't need to show the regular one. What I'm going to do, I'm going to put all these together while we're talking. And then by the end, I will drink them and see what they all taste like at the exact same time.
Ooh.
So
Interesting.
I'm going to open up. Hold on. I got to move my Mario Kart. My Mario Kart wheel.
That is beautiful.
Now I'm thinking this could work for iRacing, but if it can, I will be so happy.
Did you try it yet?
I have not. I want to try it after I'm done here. But
I don't see why it wouldn't, as long as it works with your computer.
It even comes with pedals.
That's beautiful. Come on, it has to.
But I don't know where the. But I don't know, like, because the pedals have like this thing. I don't know where to plug this in at. So I'm just like.
Do you need the pedals for the whole thing to work, or can it?
I mean, all I could do is I could push a button on there, like I could keep holding A and just start turning the wheel. But then, how would I brake?
You don't. You do the wall ride.
The iRacing wall ride. So first, Voltage goes in.
Are you going from favorite to least favorite, or are you just doing whatever?
I'm going from favorite to least favorite. My
favorite.
Least favorite I've tried ever is the orange one.
Livewire? It's alright.
So this one's last.
Alright, well. While you're doing that, we can jump into previous weekend's endeavors for NASCAR. We'll start with the truck race. I got a chance to watch a good amount of the truck race. I actually watched pretty much all the Xfinity race and of course the entire Daytona 500. I don't know how much you got to see.
I got to watch the truck race.
Okay.
I didn't get to watch the Xfinity. I got to watch the last part of the Cup race, so I know who won and everything. But
well, the truck race. From what my takeaways from that was that there was a lot of very aggressive racing in this race. It seemed like they were always laying on each other's bumpers, pushing each other to the fullest extent, and that caused a lot of early crashes on a lot of early cautions. But this race was mainly the piece that take away from this mainly is rain. There were 3 rain cautions in total. 2 early in the race, and then the one that eventually rain shortened it. Got rain shortened after about 80 laps, I think it was, out of the 100. And Zane Smith ended up taking home the trophy in a range shortened race. It took a long time for them to really call the race because they went to rain delay, dried the track, got the trucks back out there, and then ran like 6 pace laps and then brought them back in and called the race. I thought that was pretty stupid. If you're gonna, if it's gonna, it never stopped raining, so why keep trying to keep going? So that was a little bit of a bummer start. The wrecks they're okay. They were. It wasn't like great racing. We didn't see a car flip into the fence or anything, so hallelujah there. But overall, for a truck race, I thought it was pretty decent. For the racing that we got to see, I think it would have been a very thrilling finish had we seen the finish. We didn't even get to see the finish,
Yeah.
so because the rain affected it. But I don't know. You got to see it. What was your takeaways from it?
I saw the beginning part, and then I saw this, like, these gentlemen start your engines or whatever, and all that. And then had to go home because I was at my girlfriend's, and
Ooh,
I, ooh, but I got home and then I saw the rest of the race, and I'm just like, this ain't a bad race. It's just caution. But when I got home, all of a sudden my friend texted me, goes, "Yeah, Deegan wrecked," and I'm like,
she did wreck. She wrecked early in the race. I thought of you immediately when I saw her crash. I'm like, oh, he's not gonna like that.
well, it is a hard track to race at, and
It's
this
a
was her
modern
first race,
modern
nothing
restrictor
new.
plate race. So you gotta expect that there's gonna be a lot of crashes. You don't expect them that early. There's a couple big ones pretty early in the race, which kind of sucked.
Like I said, I wasn't gonna expect her to win the race, because if she would have won the race, I that would have been huge on NASCAR. We would have had big news.
Oh
Um,
yeah, it would have been huge. But alas,
so
there will.
it didn't happen.
I do believe that there will eventually be a female winner in the top three divisions. Danica Patrick somehow won an IndyCar race. I think a female can win a NASCAR race. It's gonna happen, just not this past weekend. It was alas. I see your concoction is finished and he's dying. What did you do? Fart in it?
So bad.
How does this smell bad? It's just Mountain Dew.
I'm, okay, with the orange flavor, I hate the smell of it
How can
so
you hate the
badly
smell
that
of
I
it?
almost throw up. It's
Wow.
just in my eyes, for me. I think orange and Mountain Dew should not go together, even though it's just orange pop. But
I don't know. I
just
don't think it's that bad.
I can
Everybody's
smell the
got
pitch black.
everybody's got their own palates. Well, are you gonna give it a try or what?
The Caucasian mix of Mountain
Caucasian
Dew. Caucasian. Oh,
concoction.
there we go.
Like the fumes are getting to your head already.
Yeah, it's not that bad actually.
Well, it really shouldn't be. It's just sweet on sweet on sweet. If your kidneys are killing you right now, then
Yeah, it's not that bad. I can taste mostly pitch black in this,
what
and
did
a
you?
little bit of voltage, but it's not that bad.
Well, at least it tastes good. So nice beverage for you to enjoy. Um, we'll see you in the diabetes camp though. All right, moving on
Yeah, my one.
to Saturday's adventures at the Xfinity Series race. I got to see a majority of this one, and I gotta say, I was not impressed. There were a lot of wrecks, more so than the truck race. The truck race was a pretty moderate amount of wrecks, though it was still a short race, so it wasn't as bad. It was aggressive racing, and it wasn't necessarily the best racing, but I thought it was at least clean for the most part. Xfinity was not the
Right.
case. There was a lot of early wrecks that took out a lot of contenders for the win and kind of shook up the field. It got better later in the race. Everybody was kind of starting to work everything out. And then, of course, we get overtime. And car flipped over. I think it was Sam Mayer flipped over. I gotta say, what a disastrous night this was for Junior Motorsports. Sam Mayer, Brandon Jones, and Justin Allgaier, basically they, in their attempt to each win the race, they took each other out of it in the late laps, kind of sabotaging each other's race. And then, of course, Sam Mayer flipping over.
I think Brandon Jones forgot that he's not a part of Joe Gibbs anymore.
I could see why he'd think that. Even though he was still in the Menards car. And
Right.
the other car that was against him was the Bass Pro Shops car. No. Wait, yes. I forgot. All the sponsors got mixed up in this year. Like, Bass Pro Shops switched to Menards car, and the Menards switched to Bass Pro Shops car. It's all weird. But alas, it's still pretty cool. But yeah, and then because of this race going long at the end, it did come down to fuel mileage. Quite a few cars actually ran out of gas, and shit, I forgot. There was a second. It was another repeat winner. I forgot who it was. Look it up. I'm looking it up.
I have to look it up too. Sadly, I'm trying to look up a because I saw on Facebook someone had an argument in the Xfinity series.
Oh yeah, Austin Hill won the race. That's right, for RCR.
Yep.
Back to back wins. So that was good. But yeah, it wasn't a great night in that sense. It was a lot like the truck race otherwise. I mean, lots of aggressive racing, lots of pushing and shoving, and otherwise. And then it came down to fuel mileage, which was really weird. But overall, I mean, it's again what you expect for a lower level plate race, especially to start the season. Definitely think we had lots of comers and goers in this race. And it'll be interesting to see how a lot of this settles down and fans out as the season goes. Same for the truck series, obviously. My takeaways, it wasn't great, especially with the wreck at the end. And then we get to the Daytona 500, or should I say the commercial 500. I don't know if you've been... I don't know how much of the race you saw, Master, but I swear to God there were more commercials than actual racing on TV.
Real quick, I was gonna say for the Xfinity series there was almost an argument. They talked about it and everything, but seems like Jeffrey Earnhardt was not happy with Parker Kligerman with everything that's happened. From what he said to people, and also I paused this Facebook video at the perfect spot of his smile, just oh, he has so much of his father in him. All right. But his quote says he's in the infield care center. Hopefully he don't end up back in there when I get done with him.
Jeez.
So Jeffrey Earnhardt was not happy with Parker Kligerman because he would have gotten a top 5 finish, I think, or a top 10.
I wasn't really happy with Parker Kligerman either. I thought he didn't do that great, but the Fox guys made it seem like he was doing a lot better than he actually was because he works as like a reporter, so they felt like a contractual obligation to dick ride him, which I thought was stupid. They did the same thing TNT and did the same thing years ago with Kyle Petty when he was still kind of racing but also broadcasting. Even though he sucked, it was yeah. So that brought it reminded me of that. Um,
I'm sorry. There's a diecast of Kyle Busch. I can't believe I'm saying this, but I want to get this diecast of Kyle Busch. It's the Lucas Oil number 8 car. That is what I'm going to be getting as my next diecast. I'm sorry, but that looks dope.
some of Kyle Busch's
Um,
paint schemes this year do look pretty good. I gotta, I,
yeah,
I don't like it.
I'm looking at the Auto Club paint schemes that they're going to be racing, and they're looking okay. But the Monster Beast is going to be on Tyler Reddick's car.
Yep. Yeah, I saw that today. That's gonna be pretty cool. Um, anyway,
But the race for the Cup Series
the commercial
was,
500.
yeah, the commercial 500. Wasn't bad. I watched.
It really
I
wasn't.
actually only got to see 2 wrecks, and that was near the end. I only got to see 2 wrecks near the end. Um, and it's funny. It's funny because I.
What?
It's funny because I was watching it while I was at work. I was like putting it to the side and just looking at it every single time. I saw the final wreck. Okay, I saw the final wreck, and the first thing that popped in my head was, "This is going to be a great podcast." Seeing the Joey Logano name at the top spot, I'd be like, this is going to be a good podcast. Tyler's going to be upset.
Oh my god, I was so because it looked like yeah, I'll say the race itself was actually really good.
It was
I thought this was one of the better 500s in a long time.
better than the duels.
I thought it was much better than duels. We got more of what we saw in Duel 2 and less of what we saw in Duel 1. Well, actually, like I said on the last episode, we actually got a pretty healthy mix of both, and that turned out to make it amazing racing. We got a very long green flag run. The first stage was completely caution free. We got a late wreck in stage 2, which I'm going to go on a rant about the commercials in a minute, but I'll keep talking about the race for a minute here. Took out Chase Elliott, which pissed me off, but oh well. You can't win them all, I guess, but it's a pretty poor start to the season for him. And then the third stage was still pretty good racing. We saw some few spins and a few minor stuff, and then the overtime came and 90% of the field crashed and became a traditional plate race. But overall, I thought it was a really good race. And then somehow fucking Recky Spinhouse won the Daytona 500. Okay, because I thought
he went to Waffle House after that.
I did see that he went to celebrate at Waffle House. 10,000 subs and we'll celebrate at Waffle House too. But no. At first I thought it was going to be the Roush cars that were going to win the race because they were holding off the field for a really long time. Then they got
RCR.
I thought Kyle Busch had it in the bag. I thought his curse was over. I thought he was going to finally win the 500 with Richard Childress. I thought, Austin Dillon was going to
of the season.
First race with RCR, and everything was aligning for him to win the race. Then the caution came out. He got filtered back. The big one hits. He avoided it, but he was really much of a non-factor after that. And then all the flies had dropped, and here's the last one standing a fucking course. It's Joey Logano of all fucking drivers. And I'm thinking, God damn it, he's gonna fucking win the Daytona 500 and defend his championship. What the fuck is this? And then out of fucking nowhere, here comes Recky Spinhouse to stop the bleeding and prevent him from winning the Daytona 500 by taking it himself. Unfucking believable. I cannot believe that he won that. And Kyle Larson, who actually I thought was also going to have a good shot to win it, wrecked at the end. Travis Pastrana was going to have a top 5 finish, and then he got involved in a crash. What the hell?
speaking of Kyle Larson, I think I was looking on Facebook, and it showed like a video of Talladega Nights, and it showed shake and bake, and it showed Kyle Larson pushing Ricky Stenhouse up to the front, just shoving him up to the front, and Ricky Stenhouse winning the race.
Oh my god. But yeah, let's take a look. Let's take a look at the last three Daytona 500 winners: Mike McDowell, Austin Cindric,
Mm-hmm.
and Ricky
Mm-hmm.
Stenhouse. What the fuck? Holy shit!
What what's what's next? Kyle Busch
What's fucking next is probably fucking Haley Deegan for Cup 500 win.
in her
Oh,
first race.
oh god. But no, I contrary to a lot of people are not happy that Stenhouse won this race, which I don't know how you could be mad at it. It's a Cinderella upset win. Uh, I I know a lot of people don't like him. I think a lot of people are also just salty that there was so many crashes at the end and their favorite driver got taken out and whatnot.
I
But
think the reason why they were upset about that was if you look at the caution and how the caution didn't come out until they were just exiting turns 1 and 2, and Ricky Stenhouse wasn't up front. Joey Logano was. So people think that, okay, why did they say the race was over at the backstretch when Ricky Stenhouse was in front? Well, I mean,
well, I
I
mean,
don't know either,
it's
but
not a. The thing is, it's not a sensor. It's a human pushing the buttons. You have to think that there has to be some reaction time. They have to contemplate. Okay, are we gonna throw this caution? Are we not gonna throw this caution? It's all on split second decision making. So, but
right.
it's made by a human. They're gonna press a button to activate the caution lights and whatnot. So I respect with that. I think also a lot of people were mad that they didn't let them race back. I totally understand throwing the caution in this situation. Somebody on Instagram said it perfectly in a comment of one of the things that if it's in turn one, throw the yellow. If it's on the back stretch in turn three, let them race back because they're racing back to the finish, and then they have to immediately slow down to avoid all the ambulances and stuff, or even the ambulances can't come out, and you know, got to avoid all the cars, make sure people are getting out of their cars, don't get injured and whatnot. So I can totally understand not having to throw the caution there for the safety of the drivers, especially with how dangerous these cars are. I mean, it looked like Kyle Larson took a very hard hit. I think somebody else took a very hard hit. I can't think of the name off the top of my head. Um, so you have to think, you know, with the safety of these cars, Kyle Larson could have easily gotten a concussion there. And so, you know, it's, or even something worse. And you have to respond quickly enough so that he is okay in that situation because he can only have a few seconds of being, maybe he's cut off from oxygen. His brain's going to die out or whatever the fuck. You got to, like, take that all into consideration. So I am perfectly okay with them not letting him race back. Not just because Ricky Stenhouse won and not Joey Logano did not. I think Logano was gonna lose if they did race back because he had no help. Stenhouse at least had a car to draft with, so I think Logano would have actually been off worse by finishing third in that case.
Yeah,
So,
it would have been either Christopher Bell or Ricky Stenhouse.
so yeah, that's
Yeah.
the now. Let's rant about these fucking commercials. Um, there were literally more commercials than racing itself. I get in the first stage, they're going caution free. You don't wanna, stay in the race and whatnot. But still, you go to every 2 laps they were going to commercial. Every 2 laps, I'm like, what the fuck, people? They would literally they would go to commercial. It's not even just like a 3 minute commercial break, whatever the fuck. It's like 5 or 6 minutes of commercials. Then you come back, they do a lap. I'm like, all right, going back to commercial, do more commercials. And then when they're not, and then what amused me the most was like 50 or 60 to go. It was right after there was a caution in the third stage, the first caution, and then they come back to restart. And Mike Joy says, We're gonna go commercial free to the finish, thanks to Toyota. I'm like, you just had a. That's a commercial. That's a commercial. Oh my god, it was so annoying. And I think that's why a lot of people are not like Fox as a whole for their coverage this season is just not off to a good start. Clint Boyer and Tony Stewart showed very little emotion during the race. Mike Joy, he seemed more like his old self, but he can only do so much by himself, especially when he's got two downers with him in the booth. And I'll stand by this fact. I think Tony Stewart's a good commentator in the booth, but he is a team owner.
Oh yeah.
You have to think that it's not really a good idea to put a team owner in the booth because he has to watch out for his cars, and he's not going to be very happy very excited when a big crash happens because he's going to be worried is his car going to get involved. Which Kevin Harvick, who I thought put up an okay race, did get involved in a couple accidents. In his final Daytona 500, he was not able to win it. But, Clint Boyer, he's okay. I know he's coming back from that, whatever that was, incident and back last summer that he had to miss the last part of the season for. So maybe he's still shucking up from that. I don't know. But I don't think the commentating was really a problem. I think Fox was just too focused on filling a lot of the ad spots because they knew people were going to be watching. They knew that they had a good chance to get marketing opportunity across. It was a sold-out infield, sold-out grandstands, and I assume millions of people watched on TV. I don't know the exact viewer ratings. I don't think they really released them anymore, but there were just so many goddamn commercials. It made it impossible to watch the race, and they wouldn't even go side by side. Which, why don't you just go side by side? Well, the advertisers don't want that. They want the audience to be attention to them, not to the race. That's why they didn't go side by side. People were kind of questioning that. I don't. So I that's the thing. I get the advertising money is your biggest revenue point right now, but it's not a good route to go, and that kind of sucked. Having to see all those commercials, but alas, the good race and the upset winner made it worth it, even with Chase Elliott crashing out early. Ryan Blaney, by the way, involved in the opening crash, the first crash of the race. By the way, they went to commercial, and then immediately the wreck happens. Seriously. But then Ryan Blaney somehow gets an 8th place finish out of it. What the fuck? But alas. Oh well. But yeah. Congratulations, Ricky Stenhouse. You are driver number 10 locked into this year's New Year's Eve Spectacular. So there you go. That's my lasting thoughts about the 500.
I have some upsetting news about the Chicago Street Course. I might not be going to the Chicago Street Course. Might is the key word. Or not Chicago. Yeah, Chicago Street Course. It's just because my friend doesn't want to have to deal with Chicago traffic, and to add on to a NASCAR race, yeah, it's going to be very hectic. So who knows? It's still right now a go. We're still going, but we don't know if we're going to go or not. But if we do go, I will still make sure to make a vlog, especially for the Bristol Dirt. I'll make sure to do that. Because we are going to Bristol Dirt. That's already official.
Good. But yeah, I mean...
Got the tickets, got everything.
That makes sense. Traffic-wise. You won't have any traffic issues at Bristol. They do really good with their traffic problems. Chicago, I think they'll have good allocation for it being Chicago on Independence Day weekend and also a NASCAR race in the streets. I think they'll have good ways of going around that. You might have to pay to park, but honestly, during the day, Chicago is very walkable. At night, though, no. But thankfully, it's a day race, so you won't have to worry about that. Yeah, you shouldn't have an issue. trying to convince him that way because I've been to Chicago a few times. You won't be able to drive around town, but you probably have to walk to the track. You might have to take a bus. You might have to take an Uber. But
that my friend will probably be able to come onto a podcast one of these times because he is getting a gaming setup. The last time he couldn't because he didn't have the gaming setup. So now he will be able to have a gaming setup. So soon, I don't know when, this time he will.
should get him on if you guys go to the Chicago Street Course. Is he going to Bristol with you too?
Yeah.
Okay.
He's going to Bristol and then Michigan and then
we'll have to get him on.
Possibly Street Course.
We'll have to get him on for some guest episodes to talk about the race you guys go to.
Oh,
okay. Yeah. Oh, also some other fun facts. That was about the 500 lasting fun fact. It was the longest Daytona 500 in history by lap count. Well, I think it was 213 laps, 215. I don't remember, but it was 540 or 550 miles of racing with the overtime. So. This guy is booty cheeks. All right. Anyway, unless you got any other lasting thoughts on the 500 or any of the other Daytona races this weekend.
All I had to say is one more thing. Jimmy Johnson did a hell of a job.
He did.
If that wreck would have not have happened, he probably would have gotten either a top 5 or top 10 spot.
I thought he was going to win it for a little bit there.
And then we just come on here and say, Gary, you were right. Jeez, you should pick Jimmy Johnson more often.
I was impressed. Travis Pastrana I was pretty impressed with, too. He was up in the top 10. He could have gotten either top 10 or top 5 until he spun Kyle Larson and caused a crash. But he still, I think, he led laps. I mean, he led.
Yeah, he led some laps.
So, I mean, he was very impressed with the performance. And honestly, I am, too. So, that was a cool little thing as well. So, okay, moving on. So, like I said in the last episode of the podcast, I said I would play Thunder 2005 Chase for the Cup, and NASCAR 07, and I did. I actually was playing Thunder 05 a little bit more before we jumped on this podcast. Let me give some thoughts. I'm going to go chronological between when they got out because you'll understand why. I don't want to drag this on too long, but I'll try and... So, Thunder of Chase for the Cup. First off, it's a great game. It's really fun to play. It's a lot like Thunder 2004 in the graphics, the game mechanics, and a lot of that stuff. But there are a lot of extra stuff. The big one is, of course, the name, Chase for the Cup. There is a mode in the game where you can run the final 10 races of the 04 season in the Chase and try and win the championship. You can pick what position you start in, 1st through 10th. You can pick how many points not how many points. You can pick your difficulty and whatnot, and you run the final 10 races of the season. That's a pretty fun mode to do because you get to activate caution flags, and there's actual caution flags and restarts and pit strategies and stuff. I did play that mode. I played as Dale Jr., started in 10th, and ended up winning the championship. So that was pretty awesome.
Gave Dale Jr. a championship that he's never gotten.
But yeah, that was the fun. But actually, that's the marketing as the biggest piece of the game. But actually, the biggest piece of the game, in my opinion, is the fight to the top mode, which is really the career/story mode of the game. And that's actually what you get introduced at the start of the game is you when you boot up the game for the first time and start a new game, you go into this cutscene where you meet Ryan Newman and street race him around the streets of New York, and if you beat him, you then get to go to the rest of the game and start the fight for the top mode. And I was playing a lot of that. It's pretty fun. You start out, he gets you a modified contract, and then you race some modified races. If you do good in those, you get a truck contract, and you get to run some truck races. You do that, you get to that, and then you get a Busch contract. And then so far I have not gotten a Cup contract yet. However, I am dominating. I'm up over 400 points in my modified championship run. I am, despite missing about 5 races in the truck season because I didn't get signed on until later in the season, I am second in the points, only about 100 back, and I am on an absolute dominant run. And in the Busch Series, I've only ran a few races in that. I did get a win though, but I am like 48th or something in the standings, so I got some work to do. I did have to miss a race because it's kind of stupid because the schedules conflict to where you can only pick to run one race a day. Like say you have to qualify for a truck race, but there's also qualifying for a Busch race that day. You got to pick which one you want to qualify for, and the other one you have to start in the back. If there's 2 races, you got to pick one race you're going to finish dead last, one race you run. You can run charity races for get your reputation better with your fans. You can sign autographs. This is the stupidest thing ever, but it's so fun. So if you get like good fan appreciation, they give you the option to sign autographs, right? And basically what it is you're in the garage and there's fans swarming you, and you just spam it's like rapid fire buttons like X, triangle, square, X, circle, and you got like spam these buttons and try and get as many signed autographs as possible. It is so funny. It is so stupid, but it's really good for your fan pieces. And then of course you run the races and whatnot. But that's a lot of fun. And it all works towards getting skill points. I know in Thunder 2004, to get like extra paint schemes, extra tracks, extra races at tracks, you just had to complete certain stuff and you'd unlock them immediately. It's not the case in this game. What you have to do is you get skill points, and then you use the skill points to buy that stuff in the game. As far as the drivers, there's one major driver missing. Somehow Jeremy Mayfield is not in this game.
Oh my god, he threw a pitch.
He made the chase, the inaugural chase for the Cup, and he is not in the game. I had to double check on that. I don't know why. That is pretty crazy in my opinion. But the other drivers, for the most part, are there. Stuff like that, and then of course like the chase mode and whatnot. So you can't even do the original chase if you wanted to because Jeremy Mayfield's not fucking there. But you can pick. You get to actually get. What you do is you can actually pick the 10 drivers that you want to be in the chase that you race with, including yourself, obviously, and whatnot. It's pretty cool. A lot of the paint schemes, there wasn't as many. There was still a good amount, and they go pretty far back as far as those go. Those were pretty good. The tracks, I mean, they're pretty good with tracks. Not as many fantasy tracks. Not as many night race track options. Well, actually, no, there were a good amount of night race options. But some of them were just weird. Like, they'd have a night race for, like, Kansas. This was before Kansas got lights. But there was none for, like, Michigan. But there was a Talladega one. And, like, they would fluctuate which ones they want to choose. It's pretty weird. And then my favorite part of the game is always the lightning challenges, which you don't know those are. Those are, you get to redo scenarios from in the past. This one, so generic. It would always just be like, play as Tony Stewart, play as Dale Jr., play as Jeff Gordon, win the race, start in 8th, win the race in 15 laps, race 15 laps, hold off the field for 15 laps. Instead of like in Thunder 2004, it was like, get through a crash. Save your tires, save fuel. Like, there was none of that. Okay, so there's this funny part. The only challenge that's been at Michigan so far, like the only Michigan challenge, you race as Kevin Harvick. You start in 3rd with like 4 to go or whatever, and you're low on fuel, and you're like, okay, you got to pass these. I forget. Kurt Busch is one of the drivers, and somebody else another one. They're like 5 seconds ahead of you. No way you pass them. What do? They run out of gas on the last lap, and all you have to do is just not spin the car out, and you can pass them for the win. It's so stupid. But a lot of them, there's also 4 lightning challenges, all from the 2004 Daytona 500. Seriously? One of them's literally races Tony Stewart, pass Dale Jr. for the win. Another one, races Dale Jr., hold off Tony Stewart. Another one, races Scott Wimmer, win the Daytona 500. And then the only one on the Lightning Challenges that I didn't beat yet is you have to draft as Brian Vickers with Jeff Gordon and get up to the front within like 10 laps or whatnot, which is impossible because plate racing in this game is absolutely awful. You start off, and immediately when you start off in the game, like in the plate race, right, you go off in the first turn, your car automatically like checks up, and you lose you lose so much momentum, and everybody blows past you. So imagine trying to hold off the lead in like with 1 lap to go on a restart, right? You're fucked. You're gonna lose like 8 spots, and then catching up is a pain in the ass as well. Because they'll run you up into the wall to block you. They'll run you in the infield to block you. In these lightning challenges, you can't go below the apron, but they'll run you down there to block you, even if they're going to die in the process. But overall, it got a little repetitive and generic, but there are still some fun ones in there. But I mean, otherwise, it's a pretty good game in all facets. I mean, it's not as developed or whatnot, but I thought it was still pretty good. The fight to the top is definitely my favorite part of this game. The lightning challenges were okay. The chase for the cup mode is fun to do, but it doesn't take that long. Quick race is okay, but still, and the soundtrack's not nearly as good as in Thunder 2004. I think that's the biggest lacking piece of this game, is the soundtrack. It's just weird. It doesn't make any sense for the game. But those are my thoughts on that one. I don't know, have you ever played that game?
I have. I've played it a lot when I was younger. It was very decent. I never did the Thunder Challenge or anything like that. I never did that. I just did career mode, and I did very hard mode. I was a kid who wanted to actually work their way up and like fight for the top spot. So I would be in the modifieds, and I'd be leading for some of the race and like half the race. Like I was racing at Richmond and with the modifieds or Martinsville, and I'm just winning by like 15 seconds, and then all of a sudden you're out of gas, and then it slows it down, and I have to drive all the way around. I have to pit, and then they've already caught up and they've passed the line already, and I lost. So I'm just like, I could win my first race, but every single time I'm out of gas.
Oof.
It sucked, but it's a cool game. I like playing it.
Now that's in contrast to NASCAR 07, which to me felt like playing a lot like playing NASCAR 09, which is not a fun game for me. This game definitely took a lot of just cookie cutter elements from Chase for the Cup 2005. There was a game between 05 and 07, obviously, called NASCAR 06, but I don't have that game yet. But this game had a Chase for the Cup option. You can run up to 15 chase opponents, even though it was 2007 and there was only 10 in the chase, which I thought was pretty funny. And then the paint schemes lack, though. There's not a lot of differentiates. Like, fucking, what was it? I think fucking Reed Sorensen has, or not Reed Sorensen. Yeah, it was Reed Sorensen. He has a fucking multiple paint schemes, but like Jimmy Johnson doesn't, and Jeff Gordon doesn't. It's really weird which ones have alternative paint schemes, which don't. There's no like special fantasy. Well, there's very, very, very few fantasy tracks. There's no night options for tracks that don't already have night races at that time. So there's very few racing options for that. The lightning challenges are, again, I completed most of them, except for, again, one where you have to draft with somebody to get up to the front. I just can't do those. Those are just annoying as shit. But I also, because of that, in Thunder 05, you could do it. You could, if you just did, I still unlocked the bonus challenges and did them. In this game, you can't. You got to complete them all, and then you can get the bonus challenges. So I haven't played those yet. And then, of course, like the controls are a lot more stiff. There's a different button to accelerate. And I feel there's like the graphics are kind of weird. I think it was okay. It's just nothing special. It's kind of like with the Heat games now. well, I guess they're not now, but you know what I mean.
Right.
You don't need to buy every single year versions. The lightning challenges do give a little bit more purpose to that, and as do the paint schemes. All the main drivers are really in there. I thought I couldn't really think of one that wasn't. But it is still funny that Elliott Sadler is in the cover and in the wrong driver because he switched teams before the game came out. But yeah, I mean, in my overall thoughts, it's very similar. Missing a lot of the more fun pieces to it. The graphics aren't as good, and it's kind of just like a cheap cash grab to get that year's version of a NASCAR game out. It was definitely really. I haven't played NASCAR 06. That game and Thunder 03 were both at the game store too. I didn't pick them up because I didn't want to spend too much money. But if I go back, I'll probably pick them up. We can try both of those. But so I don't know what that game is and how that game works in comparison, like the medium comparison. But I don't know. Keep going, keep going.
I was gonna say, if you have a chance, you should try and find Dirt to Daytona, because that game brings back memories for me. I love Dirt to Daytona.
I'll have to find it, but we'll go back eventually. But yeah, I wasn't a big fan of 07. It's still a nice game to get. I'm glad I got it because just for the lightning challenges, those were even more generic and annoying. But oh well, you know what are you gonna do? I'll have to dive into it more. Right now, I'm getting through my race to the top and fight to the top in 05. Still gotta get a cup contract. Some of the Busch races are really hard too. But I'll get there eventually. All right, some other news. The Garage 56 car for the Le Mans race in March. I think they're in Germany or Poland. That was unveiled this week. Just looks like a regular next-gen car with maybe a few little upgrades for longer endurance purposes. It's nothing really too out there or different. But that did happen. Some other fun news. Birch Run Speedway is now NASCAR sanctioned. You know, Birch Run Speedway is in Kalamazoo, Michigan. It's a 0.4 mile track. Not quarter mile, but 0.4 mile. But yeah,
You said Birch Run?
Yeah, it's in Kalamazoo. They're gonna run the weekly series. I think that's modifieds there now. But yep, that's NASCAR sanctioned for its 75th anniversary. So that is really, really, really cool. I sent you a link on DM about when it got sanctioned, but that's pretty cool.
I see it right here.
Might be cool to see a race there one time, depending on how tickets are and what like the situation looks like.
I mean, my sister lives down in Kalamazoo, so I'm gonna see if one of these times, if I go see her one of these days, and NASCAR's out there, I should go out with her, because that seems like a cool thing to do, especially if it's a NASCAR sanction now.
Yeah, I think it's sanctioned so they can run like the weekly modified. I think it's modifieds. I don't remember modifieds. I'm gonna call them modifieds. Them I could very well be wrong, but series out there. But that'll be cool to go see. 0.4 mile track's pretty unique. It looks pretty fun to see to watch a race at. So, other big news: grassroots racing coverage. Grassroots like modifieds, little stocks. Stuff you see at your local track, not like the big trucks or the cars or stock cars or whatever. But that's going to start being regularly aired on CNBC. My question is why? CNBC is like the business channel for NBC. MSNBC is the political side. I guess CNBC would also do a little bit of politics, but they do mostly business. Why CNBC? I don't understand. I do get CNBC, so maybe I can watch a little bit, but I don't know, it just seems like a weird place to put it. It was announced at the Daytona 500 that Dierks Bentley, who performed at the Daytona 500 as a pre-race concert, will also do a pre-race concert at the All-Star race at North Wilkesboro. I did not add this to the list, but I remember they're actually ahead of schedule with the renovations for North Wilkesboro. So they're coming along very well with that. Getting almost ready to go, they said, for the May All-Star race. So that is really, really cool to hear. Also, I heard at the Daytona 500, I don't know if you know this, there's a NASCAR rewards program. Do you know about this?
Oh my god. Don't fumble that in the game.
All I know is me and one of my friends went bowling, and there was this thing that popped up that said it didn't say NASCAR rewards, but it said something about NASCAR. I don't know if it was NASCAR rewards, but I don't remember.
Yeah, they were talking about it's like you free and you sign up and then you can like earn points to like get special rewards or like discounts for tickets to races and whatnot, I think, or like special access to stuff at races. So I signed up to do it. It's really finicky and it's really, really not great. Because you get points for like checking in on the leaderboards for the Daytona 500 or like checking out some like schedule stuff or whatnot. None of it would register. Like it said you needed a special code, and then they didn't give me a code. Like just give me the points because I checked in. I'm logged into my account. It took a million years to make an account in the first place because the website kept crashing every time I wanted to update my profile. But I finally got that figured out. But you also get points for like buying tickets to races and whatnot. You're signed in on your account. And you can get like points for like checking out articles or signing up for newsletters and whatnot. It's completely free. It might be something you want to check out. Get like cool special access for stuff, but I don't know how you get the points. I don't know if you can. I don't know if it's a new thing or whatnot, but I'll look into that more probably this weekend when I'm watching the races to see if I can get some points for that. Some drama at Legacy Motor Club this week. Richard Petty is not happy with being a co-owner at the club for his former team. He's expressing some very big discomfort about Jimmy Johnson as a part-time owner or part owner. Yeah, I honestly feel for Petty. He owned this team for a long, long time, and now Jimmy Johnson is stepping in, enforcing a rebrand. And well, I don't know if he forced a rebrand, but there is a rebrand, and I don't know. I don't know how to feel about it. It's also an old guy, not being happy with change. Gotta think about that. But he's not young anymore. But you gotta feel for the guy a little bit. It's his team. It's kind of.
Yeah. I feel like Richard Petty should keep the team, and I feel like it should be Petty Motorsports. If Dale Earnhardt was still alive, I would do something like do Petty Earnhardt Johnson Motorsports, the 7-time club.
That would be cool.
Do all 3 teams mix together and make it the 7-time motorsport club. It would be a cool thing because you got 7 times, 7 times, 7 times.
That would be a cool thing to do. Alas, probably a little late now. Dale Earnhardt already had his foray into team ownership, and it flopped. Not in his own hands because he got transferred out of his hands into his wife, and we all know how that went down.
We don't talk about her. I dare everybody to go to a speedway track and try to say that lady's name. You will instantly hear people say she's a piece of crap.
Especially
NASCAR fans hate her.
You know what, Hitmaster? I dare you when you go down to Bristol, bring her up. See how people feel.
I will. I'll do that in my podcast. I'll say, how do you feel about Teresa Earnhardt, and see how they feel.
Yeah, you gotta get that footage for the vlog or some shit. That'd be funny.
So how do you feel?
You might I don't know. You get any point. The heads up of Bristol. There's a lot of old people that run the tents and stuff who are not very tech savvy, so they might not know what it's like to have a camera pointed in their face. Or maybe they won't. I don't know. Some of them are better at it than others, A couple other things. Cool thing that I saw: NASCAR is going to be partnering with the PBA, Professional Bowlers Association, and they're going to do a special mini tournament that will take place at the Phoenix race. They're going to set up lanes at Phoenix, and two men bowlers, I don't remember who they are, and two female bowlers are going to bowl in tournaments, and fans will get to watch it as part of, because Go Bowling has sponsored the Watkins Glen race before. They sponsored the Pocono race before. I think they're going to be a sponsor at the Phoenix race this year because that's where it's happening, Phoenix, in March. But that's a really, really cool thing. I wish they'd come to Michigan and do that because I would see that. I would want to watch that because I love bowling and I love NASCAR. You put them two together, fuck, that's like a fucking day in heaven for me. What the hell? That would be a cool thing to go see. But alas, I can't fly out to
Yeah.
Phoenix to go see it. Maybe one day. Maybe one day. But it seems like they're on really good terms as far as like cooperating with each other, and I can see why. Bowling fan base is generally it's a growing sport, and it's got a lot of young fans. It's also got a lot of old fans. NASCAR's also got a lot of old fans. Very, now I want to say southern demographic, but you know what I mean. Similar demographics to hit up as far as fan bases go. So we'll see how that goes. Corey Roper, truck racer, related to Tony Roper, who passed away in that horrific accident at Texas in 2000 truck race. He was suspended, and NASCAR had to. He's suspended indefinitely for drug use. NASCAR had to reiterate and boggle down on their drug use policy. So sucks to be that guy. But you know, PEDs suck. I guess I don't know. Some people like them. Some people hate them. I don't know how I really feel about them. But all I can do is sit down and drive a car. Again, this is probably the sport that you least need PEDs in. Unless it's like you go in the car and stuff. I don't know. That'd be weird. And then the final piece, which is a crazy developing story on a long time iceberg thing. L.W. Wright. Do you know who I'm talking about? L.W. Wright. He was arrested this week and will finally be charged for his scamming. You guys don't know who L.W. Wright is. He entered a race at Talladega, I think it was in 1982, ran like 13 laps, got flagged by NASCAR because he was going too slow, exited the race, disappeared, and was never seen or heard from again. Supposedly never seen or heard from again. And he was he scammed like Sterling Marlin, Bobby Allison, Richard Petty, like Dale Earnhardt scammed all these guys for parts and knowledge and pieces to enter the race. Scammed a ton of investors and whatnot, and he's been on the run for over 40 years now. But a group of people finally caught up with him a couple of years ago. Did an interview with him. He admitted to a lot of what he did. He said he actually ran in NASCAR after that incident at Talladega. Nobody just knew about it. And he did like a bunch of other crimes and scams and whatnot. Well, it finally all caught up with him because he was arrested, I think, in Alabama, and will finally be charged. So it's pretty cool.
That's odd.
I can't believe it took this long. Can't believe they got him. It's pretty crazy.
I mean, he must have good thinking stuff.
All right. So I think that unless you got any other news,
So this is not news about NASCAR, but I did get 2 new Smash characters for Amiibos.
okay.
One of them is Kazuya. I think that's what his name is. the I forgot what game he's from, but named him Muscle Man.
Nice.
So that'll be fun. Anytime he dies, we have to make the noise that Muscle Man makes. Um, and then I got this character,
Holy shit!
which I
What?
got Zelda now.
Oh, that's Zelda.
But I named it Link
Why? What game is that?
as the joke.
What amiibo is that supposed to be for? Breath of the Wild, or is it like a Smash amiibo, or is it?
It's not a Smash amiibo. It has the thing on the bottom, like the Zelda, like the Legends of Zelda thing on the bottom with the eagle, and I
Must
think.
be a Breath of the Wild thing. I don't know.
But I named it Link because a lot of people have said that Link, the actual character, they thought it was Zelda.
You know
So the
what?
joke
I was
is,
one of them.
this is Link instead of Zelda. And then when I get a Link amiibo, I'm naming it Zelda.
It's pretty funny.
Gonna confuse everybody.
That's pretty funny, actually. But it's like called
That makes it
Legend.
14.
But here's why people think that is because it's called Legend of Zelda and Link is on the cover. So you would associate it being Link is actually named Zelda because Zelda's on the cover with the guy. I don't know. I mean, their marketing strategy worked out, whatever it was. As crazy as it was, it worked out. But I can see why people would be confused. All right, well, if we got nothing else, then
Detroit won 4-1. The Red Wings won 4-1. Okay.
congratulations. Anyway, we got a big weekend coming up. It is the final weekend for the current Auto Club configuration that has been long standing since the 90s. And it will be configured into a short track for 2025, so not beyond 2024 schedule. So we got to enjoy this one while it lasts. Xfinity and Cup are in Auto Club this weekend for the race while the trucks are off. This is going to be ceremonial for a lot of reasons. Auto Club really did put on a pretty good race last year with the next gen car, but they were still going through a lot of the growing pains with the tire situation. Even though Auto Club is a rough surface, so you can see why they had tire issues in the first place. And I think year 2, it not being the second ever race with this car. Oh shoot! Okay. I'm going back to NASCAR 05 for a second. There's a track on there. There's a fantasy track on NASCAR 05 called Dodge Stadium. It is literally the LA Coliseum. It is literally the Busch Clash. The Clash at the Coliseum.
Oh, wait, Dodge Stadium. Wait a minute. I remember that. That's where I remember it from. Dang.
God. Because I raced at it in Fight to the Top for the first time, I think in the modifieds or whatever. I'm like, it looks like the 49ers stadium. I'm like, wait the fuck, this is fucking Clash at the Coliseum before Clash at the Coliseum. It was quite crazy to see. It's literally a track with a football stadium. There's a football field in the infield of the track. You go out to qualify from the concourse. It's signs and seats everywhere. It's quite weird.
I'm looking at a picture of it right now. Oh my god.
It's incredible foreshadowing.
I mean, I feel like, was it a part of oh no, this is called Dodge Raceway Stadium. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. It has the feel. I wish in one of the games, in one of the like college game or something like that, if the next college game comes in, just put a freaking Dodge team on there and just have them play on here just for the throwbacks.
I mean, there is a football field there. It's got all the yard lines
Right.
and whatnot, so they could just do that. That would be quite interesting to see. I would like that.
Yeah, I
I,
remember that.
I just wanted to bring that up because I just found that out tonight while playing the game. Okay, back to Auto Club. I'm honestly expecting a pretty good race in the Cup race. Xfinity, it could really go either way. But I'm expecting a pretty good Cup race, especially for the final race. I'm expecting a good turnout. God, Fox, can you get your ass together and just do a good broadcast for Auto Club's sake, please? But that's really all I gotta say about it. Now we can do our winners predictions. Start with the Xfinity. Who do you think is gonna win Xfinity race?
Brandon Jones. I think Brandon Jones is going to win because after the situation that he did with the other junior motorsports cars, he's just going to wreck the other junior motorsports cars, and then he's just going to win the race.
Fair. Fair. I was also going to say Brandon Jones, and now I can't say Brandon Jones. No,
Oh, you could say Brandon
Nah,
Jones.
fuck it. I'll say Brandon Jones. I don't know why it came to my mind. Probably because of that Menards commercial.
You know what we need to do? We need to make a fantasy NASCAR. Like a NASCAR fantasy group on the NASCAR app or something like that.
That would be fun. Can do
One
that.
of these days.
That would be pretty cool. Then we got to put money in though. We have to have liquid income, and that it's not something I got right now. Maybe soon. Again, 10,000 subs. We'll celebrate at Waffle House, and then we'll have disposable income.
Right.
And then
And then you'll have a plaque. You have a plaque then.
the plaque's
That
at
says
100K.
Pringles.
Plaque's at 100K, and then there's another one at 1 million, and then another one at 10 million. But I don't know if I'll ever get to 10 million. I don't even know if I get to 1 million. But maybe I get 100K.
Maybe even a billion. Who knows?
Maybe I'll become the most subscribed YouTuber ever. That would be
You'll
insane.
you'll pass PewDiePie and T-Series, and then the Pringleson and Company will be the best.
Maybe we combine all of our net subscribers into one. We could get past the 1 billion mark at some point.
You wouldn't catch up to 100K.
Let's just
I don't think, at
let's
least.
focus on the 10K Waffle House special first. All right, Cup Series. Who are we going for the Cup Series to win this weekend?
So, last week I said Jimmy Johnson. Sadly, Jimmy Johnson's not racing in this. I have two, but I'm going to have to go with one of them. I think Kevin Harvick. It would be so special for the last Auto Club configuration. Kevin Harvick in his last Auto Club race wins.
That would be pretty ceremonial, I would think.
I was going to pick Kyle Busch, but
Well, I'm gonna go. I think I picked him last week because it's Chase Elliott. Picking Chase Elliott. Here's why. Remember the last Auto Club race last year? He got punted into the wall by Kyle Larson when he was going for the win. I think he's gonna have that same kind of momentum without getting punted into the wall. I just think it's gonna happen. It's bound to, right? Finished like 37th at Daytona. It's off to a bad start. Got to get into the playoffs. I think it's pretty inevitable. So, well, that's gonna do it. I think for this episode of Talking NASCAR podcast. It was a good episode. Next week we'll talk about Auto Club. I think Vegas is after that. Let's preview Vegas. Hopefully you get some more news. And stuff like that. Maybe some more gaming. We'll see. I don't know. I forgot we got any more Corrigan Oil news.
I have not heard anything. I can take a quick second to look at the Corrigan Oil Facebook page, because I have not had the time to look that up. Let's see here. No, I don't see anything here.
All right.
Hold on. Maybe I have to click it out. Uh, so I know this isn't about Corrigan Oil, but someone that used to drive at Corrigan Oil Speedway. Listen to this. Congratulations to Corrigan Oil Speedway graduate, 15-year-old Katie Hedinger, on her first career win in the World Series of Asphalt Stock Car Racing in the Pro Late Models Division at New Smyrna. Can't even think that. But she was in Florida for Florida Speed Weeks.
Oh wow, that's cool.
So, yeah, it is a 15-year-old. Why are all these young people our age just destroying older guys? Like, you got Ty Gibbs, who destroyed
Well,
a goon.
Ty Gibbs buys his wins, so.
True. I
But
mean, his
not everybody gets.
grandfather is Joe Gibbs.
And that's exactly what it's. I don't know. It's pretty cool seeing all these, keeping the sport alive. It's good. So. You and I will pay the tickets and go in and watch the races while these other youngsters, go out there and win them. And, it'll work out in monetary value to keep everybody good. So, but all right, that's what's going to do it for this episode. We will be back next week. So, till next time, we will see you guys later. Goodbye.